Begin recording. Season's greetings. There's a new Paizo playtest, and I'm going to have a look and take some notes. And then maybe in the future I will make a character. Or make a proper VTuber. Editor of choice is Emacs. I have no memory of where I was putting my notes last time. Notes. Playtest. Using org mode for note taking. It's not thrilling. Hello? Emacs? There we go. This one came out a day or two ago. I wasn't really expecting it. I don't know if anyone was. My enter key doesn't work in org mode. That's fascinating. Okay, here we are in text mode. Any general comments? How to playtest, etc. I GM for Pathfinder Society, so I hope to see some of these. Daredevil, you rush headlong where others fear to tread, heedless of any dangers. You thrive in those moments where your back is up against the wall and the odds are against you. You dash across the battlefield, seemingly to face an enemy only to catch them by surprise with an astounding stunt that sends them reeling. All the while, adrenaline courses through your body, fueling your appetite for risk. I'm sure there's some kind of really popular character like this. I just can't think of their name right now. Deadpool, yeah. Isn't this just Valoros already? Anyway, strength or dex? 8 hit points. Okay. High perception, high fortitude, high reflex. Acrobatics and athletics, 4+ int. Reasonable number of skills so far. Martial weapons. Yep, light armor. Light armor is interesting. Class DC, see who that's for. Laugh in the face of danger. Get inspired by your devil-may-care attitude. Yada yada yada. We know what a daredevil is, don't we? We don't. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, features 1 through 20. Adrenaline, audacious combatant, Daredevil feat, Daredevil's endurance, Daredevil's stunt, propelling strides, stunt damage. Skill feat, skill increase, skill feat, skill increase. Deny advantage. Okay, galvanize mobility. Will expertise, high saves so far. First level feat following the martial trend. Evasive reflexes. Stunt flexibility. Daredevil expertise. Class DC, I guess? Improved stunt flexibility. Enduring adrenaline. Everything else looks normal. Normal class stuff. Adrenaline. As you slip past the deadly blades of your opponents and perform stunts that put life and limb on the line, the thrill of danger washes through your veins. This heightened state is called adrenaline. You gain adrenaline by performing actions that have the risky trait. The GM might determine that a particularly dangerous action, such as leaping a deep chasm or sprinting across hazardous terrain, gains the risky trait. Okay, we got like swashbuckler stuff, where it's the GM's call. Well, swashbuckler stuff, investigator stuff. As a GM, I tend to go easy on this, like, yeah, you can have it. When I'm GMing for swashbucklers or investigators. And so, let's see. Such stunts typically involve at least one action and either automatically deal damage to you, okay, or risk dealing damage as the result of a failed skill check or saving throw. You gain adrenaline at the start of the risky action before you move or attempt any rolls. Okay, you just get it. The adrenaline lasts until the beginning of your next turn, so you must constantly perform risky actions to keep your adrenaline flowing. Ends at beginning of next turn. It sounds rough. I will be really unsurprised if this changes. Or if it's affected by feats, I'll have to keep reading. Normally you gain and keep adrenaline only in combat encounters, and when an encounter ends, you lose adrenaline. That's no fun. Can't go when you're in one of Paizo's thrilling influence encounters, you can't go bounce off a wall for bonuses. I mean, if you're willing to take the damage, why not? But, sure, combat mechanic. As this class is defined by a combat mechanic, I'm a little bit worried about them. During social encounters, gregarious, laughing off your cuts and bruises from your latest escapades, or a brooding loner. This is... I hate to be negative about this class so early. I'm really worried that Paizo is flat out suggesting that players play a brooding loner. I'm going to tell you, I'm firmly in the camp of being mostly against brooding loner characters. Has to be done very well to even be bad. Okay. Moving on. Help you gain adrenaline, you gain the daring stunt action. Okay. We get daring stunt. Once per round. Hurl yourself into fray and try to maneuver a foe. You stride or leap. You can use daring stunt while burrowing, climbing, or swimming. If you have the corresponding movement, you must move at least 10 feet and end your movement adjacent to an enemy. At the end of your movement, you can attempt to grapple, reposition, shove, or trip one enemy within your reach. You must meet all the requirements of that action. Move 10 feet and attempt one of 4 athletic maneuvers. There are other athletic maneuvers, but this is the body of them. You must meet all the requirements of that action. You can attempt it looks like you can use daring stunt to move next to an enemy, choose not to do a maneuver, and gain adrenaline. Okay? Otherwise, it's action compression. Audacious combatant. Your adrenaline fuels you to attack again and again. Whenever you have adrenaline and make an attack as part of an action with the press trait, your multiple attack penalty is -4 on your second attack of the turn instead of -5, and -8 on your third or subsequent attack instead of -10. Make an attack as part of an action with the press trait. So the game plan here is to move, make a maneuver, and then attack. Probably. I should give this class a chance. I'm really worried about how this class is going to fare against ordinary snagging strike fighters. First level feat. Daredevil feats, you get a first level feat. Your Daredevil's Endurance. You gain the Die Hard. Ooh. Daredevil's Endurance. Die Hard. Getting extra healing, I mean, 1 healing at level 1, oh boy, but it's something. It's not nothing. When you get that 2d8 at level 1, a minimum of 3 is as a comfort instead of a minimum of 2 on 2d8. Daredevil stunt. Where others see danger, you see opportunities to debilitate and inconvenience your enemies. You gain an additional first level Daredevil feat that must have the risky trait. The feat must have the risky trait. Additional level 1 feat. Risky trait. They want us to have some vocabulary, as usual. Flourish, press, prop, and risky. Prop is new. Risky was just defined. It's going to be interesting looking at the first level feats later. I'm tempted to go do that now. I'll go see how many choices there are. Old bluffs. Not risky. Breakaway attack. Risky. Flourish. There's that flourish. We'll get to that later. That's 1. Reaction. Don't mess with me. Emotion, fear, mental, visual. Interesting. Flying hurdle stunt. Okay, we're getting specifics. We're getting very like specific kind of maneuvers, and this is press and risky. This is really in the wheelhouse. I'm going to do details later, but I'm getting an idea of how many of these there are to choose from. Forceful kickoff stunt. Okay, as I've not seen a subclass, I'm getting the idea that instead you have this list of techniques that become defining for you. Press, risky. That's 3. Pressing pummel. Flourish, press. I'm right. You already have adrenaline. I was confused for the about the action economy for a second. If you chose not to take the athletics action in the Daredevil stunt, in theory you could not be at map and then you wouldn't be able to do this. That's strange. This is a flowchart. This feels like a flowchart class. This is interesting. Bounding, false, stunt, press, risky. There's another risky. How's it gonna end? Standing here on the golf course, when is this going to end? No traits. Scrambling retreat. Wheeling pole stunt. 1. Press risky. Okay, so there's a few of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so your human, your bog standard human with whatever feat or ancestry that is, will have potentially 3 level 1 feats, could have up to 3 of these weird sort of defining combat feats. These stunt feats. Are they consistently called stunt? Breakaway attack is not. They are not consistently called stunt. That might be an oversight. Still, we're getting this... We're getting this thing where... okay, I mean, extra feat, you know, a human is going to have potentially 3 level 1 feats. Interesting. No subclass, so that makes sense. You get customization out of feats, it's interesting. I was in the party of being skeptical about this because of apparent similarity to the swashbuckler, to the fighter. At this point, I'm way more worried about similarity to the fighter, who can just run up, do a maneuver, and hit almost as well, maybe better. I'm gonna have to sit this next to a fighter and see what this class has. It looks like action compression and greater emphasis on risk. but I haven't seen yet where the fighter can't do this better without the risk. Okay. Propelling strides. You can push yourself off a wall or large creature to gain some speed. If you are adjacent to a prop, at the beginning of a move action, you gain a plus foot 10 circumstance bonus to your speeds for that move action. A move action. Does this count for a move activity? As written, I don't think it does. For a move action. If it did, you could do really stupid things with taking, warp step or something. It's a little bit... Daredevil. It's a little bit... What it seems like... That feels a little bit more Naruto or something. Which is fine. Those guys are apparently not getting a ninja class anytime soon, so... Welcome to it. Stunt damage. Okay. When you smash your enemy into the scenery, it does real damage. Whenever you have adrenaline and force a target to move and the movement is interrupted by a prop, the target takes an amount of bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength mod. Increases by a 1d6 at 5th, 9th, 13th, 17th. It doesn't look like... the flat damage increases. Maybe there's feats for that. Maybe there's something I'm missing. The 1d6 increase looks to me like sneak attack and strategic strike kind of damage. A prop can be anything large and sturdy enough in the right hand for you to push yourself off of. This includes a creature that is larger than you, or a wall, column, or other durable terrain feature. The GM decides whether a creature or object counts as a prop depending on the circumstances. The GM might decide you can't use a huge ooze as a prop. So a prop is defined as something you can move off of, and then it's being used separately without redefining it as something that interrupts enemy movement. I sure hope that gets straightened out. Property. the size is relative to the PC, to the Daredevil. That just doesn't quite work. Needs fixed. Probably will be. I have that much faith in Paizo. Minimum. Not total, but that much. Deny advantage. Oh, skill feats, even numbered levels, normal stuff. They were looking like maybe another skill monkey. I'm having the feeling from this class that they probably should be a skill monkey, but aren't. That's uncharitable. But that's how it feels. Like, it feels way in the swashbuckler, rogue, investigator wheelhouse. But they just have a reasonable number of starter skills and are more or less required to be heavy in strength. I'm not really seeing how you would key this class off of Dex. Maybe I'm missing something. I probably am. We'll see the feats. And key is strength, which adds damage to your stunt damage. Whereas Dex is going to add to your AC. Maybe that's the intended trade-off. I don't know. Maybe it's expected that there's some synergy with agile and finesse weapons or something. I don't see how. I'll have to try it. I'll have to try building a character on Dex and looking at it. Feels weird. Feels off. Deny advantage. Deny advantage is deny advantage. Galvanized mobility. Okay, we're going fast here. We're level 3. You gain +1 circumstance bonus to your AC attacks from reactions you trigger. This bonus increases to +2 when you have adrenaline. Okay. That's fairly big. Circumstance bonuses... that replaces cover, basically. From reactions you trigger. From reactions. Reactions you trigger. Okay. There might be some interpretation in there. This frees you up to run around. Interesting. Skill increases. Normal stuff. Looks normal to me. Will expertise. At level 3, you're all expert. That's pretty good. Ancestry feats. Weapon expertise. Weapon expertise is no surprise. Evasive reflexes. Roguey stuff. That seems fine. So now we're up to 1 master save. Which isn't bad. Weapon specialization, unsurprising. Perception mastery. Stunt flexibility. We've got things. Stunt flexibility. Sometimes different situations require different maneuvers. When you make your daily preparations, you can replace the first level feat you gained through Daredevil Stunt with another Daredevil feat of 6th level or lower that you meet the prerequisites for, don't already have, and has the risky trait. So, when you get it level 9, you can swap into other feats up to level 6 during daily prep. That's okay. It's not great. I feel. As a GM for Pathfinder Society, anything that requires daily prep is tricky. Because, especially in Pathfinder Society scenarios, there is absolutely no way to know what you're dealing with at that point in the scenario. Even after you've been given the briefing, usually you still have no idea. This is cool. This is strictly better than not having it. It's flexibility. The fact that it lets you just swap around class feats is interesting. We'll see how that goes. I'll be interested now to see those stunt feats, especially the ones at higher levels, because at level 9, you start getting to move those around. That's pretty high level. So this is your mid-campaign / end-of-campaign power feat that you can swap into one of those lower level feats daily. That's not great. I think the feats for this class had really better be going hard, and they're these stunt things, so probably they will be, but no guarantees. That's a worry. This is your mid-campaign power. You've just gone through 2.5 books of Extinction Curse. You fought a lot of, spoilers, lizards. And you get this, which lets you swap out a lower level feat for a slightly less lower level feat in the morning. If you happen to know what you're going to be doing that day, you can leverage this. Otherwise, you just can't. This lets you simply upgrade that first level feat at level 9 freely. Lets you upgrade a feat without retraining. It's really not that hard to end up with retraining in any campaign I've been in, including Pathfinder Society, where it's, as far as I remember, 1 week of downtime. But you wouldn't normally be able to retrain that level 1 feat into a higher level feat. So this is interesting and strange. I'm having a little bit of a hard time processing that. It's an upgrade. It is not a middle of a 1 to 20 campaign feature. This is like a level 5 feature to me. Now, the feats might blow me away. Moving on. Daredevil expertise, class DC. Haven't seen anything that uses class DC. I'm tempted to search. I'll go search. Class DC. Please, Adobe. Please. Please go faster. Master. Okay. Ooh. I see this for 1 feat? I see this for 1 feat. 1 Daredevil feat. There's nothing wrong with this, but it makes me worried about the focus of the class when you have something like a DC that applies to only 1 thing, ever. It feels like someone missed something. That could have just been Athletics DC. Probably should be. I'm not a fan of numbers like this that are defined only to be used exactly once. Light armor expertise. At the expected I believe that's the expected level for this for an ordinary martial. Weapon mastery, same. Wait, 13. Yes, that's normal. That's normal for weapon mastery. 11 is when casters get weapon expertise. That's what I'm thinking of. I gish a lot. Grade or weapon specialization. That's probably the normal level for that. Improved stunt flexibility. Okay, so this is split into a little bit. When you use stunt flexibility during your daily prep, 2 Daredevil feats instead of 1. 8th or level, 14, 8th or lower, 14 or lower. I think it's... I'll have to see what this class has in the way of feats. Unless these feats are real good stuff, and it sounds like they might be, I feel like maybe the class should have something else in the mid-range other than morning prep minor flexibility. This is an extra feat, but it's an extra feat for things that you need to have. It's an extra feat replacing... I mean, this is like your commander tactics, or... like, this is fundamental to your class. They're a little bit untaxing your feats from that. I'm not... And the stunt flexibility, what... During your morning... like... During daily preparations, you gain 2 Daredevil feats. So you do what? You're strapping on your metal... like, what are you doing thematically here? You're a Daredevil... And so normally, you push off a wall and roller skate over and crash into someone. But today you're not going to wear your roller skates. I guess. I don't know if this feels like... This feels like thematically it fits like a fourth of the characters in this class, or less. That in the morning you choose which stunts you're going to be able to do today. I don't... This is weird. This is thematically weird. It's not wrong, it's weird. Moving on. I am slow. Master in Fortitude. If I'm not mistaken, Master Expert now. So your saves start good. They don't get great. They just start good and stay good. I guess I'd have to sit down and compare this to other progressions. save progressions is one of the most weird inconsistent things between classes, I feel like. And that's fine. Enduring Adrenaline keeps you on your feet. The rush of combat keeps you on your feet. Your proficiency rank for your Daredevil class DC increases to Master. Why? Is that just a typo? It's not. It's not a typo. That just happens at level 19. Okay. This is going to get an editing pass. I'm sure it's going to get a nice editing pass. Great. Why is this here? It needs some editing. Whenever you gain adrenaline, you also gain a number of temporary hit points equal to half your level that last until the beginning of your next turn. Temp hit points equal to half your level that last until the beginning of your next turn. Level 19, you get 9 temporary hit points. This doesn't feel like... This doesn't feel like a level 19 feature to me, but maybe there's something I'm missing. Until the beginning of your next turn. It's temporary hit points, too. How does... I suppose if it's stacking with another source, it goes away, but the other source doesn't? But that's not... I know that comes up in some situations. Strange. Until the beginning of your next turn. Enduring adrenaline... Okay, so the meaning of enduring adrenaline isn't that the adrenaline endures, but the adrenaline helps you endure by providing a damage sponge every turn. This feels like a class-defining feature. Like, this feels like it should be at level 1 or 3. Maybe it's not, because the point is you have to take, you have to take the damage, you have to take the damage risk. That's the notion of the class, but why does that just end here then? Equal to half your level. Why are you handing out a feat at level 19 that measures half your level? Just say it's 10. Okay, it's 9 now, and then you hit level 20, and it goes to 10. So this was probably getting moved around in the process. I sure hope they move this earlier. This feels more like what I was hoping to find at, like level 10 or 11. When you first got stunt flexibility. I'm really hoping... I should read more of the class before making this judgment, but I'm already hoping stunt flexibility gets moved earlier, and that enduring adrenaline gets moved to level 11? 10? 9? Moving on. Light Armor Mastery. You get Master in Armor at level 19. That seems fine. They aren't Armor Masters, they're Daredevils. Okay, feats. After these messages from our sponsors. Cue slurping noises. I'm having a nice Aldi lemon elderflower soda. It's one of those nice sort of breakfast sodas? I mean, that's what it is. It's like a breakfast soda. Like, what's with that? I'm not... Anyway. Me too, bird. Me too. Feats. Okay. I'm going to try to do these faster than I've done them in the past. Out of absolute necessity. Level 1 feats. Bold Bluffs. Allow you to find a weak spot in your foe's defenses, so you risk overextending yourself. Your attempts to feint gain the risky trait. Is this feat considered risky? Like, as a GM, I would certainly say yes. Rules as written? No, it's not. But that's interesting. You risk overextending yourself. Your attempts to feint gain the risky trait. What is the risky trait doing here that's actually risky? You can crit fail, I guess. Aside from that, it literally isn't risky. I've missed something. Something's really missing here. I don't... Maybe it is just this one feat, and it's not... It's just creating flexibility, and the wording here is... The wording here is bad. Maybe that's all it is. Okay, gotta move through these faster. Breakaway attack. Flourish risky. You've already attacked. You use a piece of your surrounding to make a surprising attack. Describe how you were using, oh, blah, 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 blah. You interact with the described object, and then make a melee or ranged strike with it, as appropriate for your description. Any fundamental runes you have on hand wrap. Okay. Whoa. What? Runes on... So it's a special melee or ranged strike with a nearby object. Benefits from hand wraps. Okay. That's interesting. I, I'll be curious to see whether there's a lot of other motivations to do unarmed attacks, or to use those hand wraps, or to have those hand wraps. I mean, you're just trained in attacks and all the normal stuff. I, as a GM, run with automatic rune progression because it frees up player brain cells for other things. And frees up the GM from really carefully tracking loot. Again, this is a feat choice, so if you're choosing this, you know you need your hand wraps. And it's not that hard. I get... In PFS and in, like, vanilla campaigns, it's kind of hard to afford 2 striking weapons at level 4. Kind of hard or very hard. Interesting. Gotta move on. Don't mess with me. Emotion, fear, mental, visual, reaction. Between intimidation, you have adrenaline. You get a critical hit on an enemy. You glare menacingly after striking. You glare menacingly at another. Attempt to demoralize a creature within 60 feet that isn't the enemy you critically hit. Loses the auditory, doesn't take a penalty. Free action with the same trigger. Okay. Visual demoralize. Free if I'm not a big fan of using your own reaction on your turn. Not a big fan. But it's an option. It's action economy. Trading your reaction for a demoralize is situational. This is okay. Demoralize can't be done a lot. This is a once or twice at most per combat. But if you don't have a better use for your reaction, sure. Flying hurdle stunt, one of your stunts. Press risky, can't be more than one size larger than you. Sort of an athletic maneuver. Grab an opponent and flip yourself over its head. Athletics check versus reflex. Rolls like a trip. Success as a critic. Okay. As you enter the target space and the target is moved up to 10 feet into the space you just left. Weird wording. Your movement doesn't trigger reactions, though if there isn't enough room for the target to fit, you just vacated, the action fails. On a crit, you're gaining +1 circumstance to strikes against the target until the beginning of your next turn. Okay. So it's a stunt. Press. Press if I I mean, I'm not crazy, right? That's only under map. Okay. So, a scenario for this is you're up against a wall. The enemy pins you into the wall. You do this, force them into the wall because they can be moved up to 10 feet into the wall or another prop like a person. This one is complicated. This is a flowchart class. This is crazy stuff. So the use for this is if you really want to swap places with someone, or you're trying to push them into a wall, and this is press. So you're doing this with map. What was that about the map penalty? Make an attack as part of an action with the press trait. Your multiple attack penalty. Make an attack. Does make an attack include all rolls with the attack trait here? An attack roll. This is a weird Venn diagram. I'm gonna say I think this gets the audacious combatant thing. Like, I think that's the idea. But this is press already, so at best you're doing this at like -4 with an agile attack. But okay. Anyway. I might not quite have enough understanding of how the word attack is used where, but even at -4, that's an interesting thing to do. A failure gets you a step where you have to remain adjacent. Sure. Forceful kickoff stunt. If it's all like this, I'm gonna have to go faster and faster. Target can't be complete. Okay. So we're gonna get some of these athletic maneuvers. Be right back. Not my problem. Okay. I'm back. Where was it? Forceful kickoff stunt. Plant a foot in the enemy's chest, pushing them away as you leap backwards. Attempt an acrobatics check against the fortitude DC of a creature within your reach. Acrobatics maneuver. Okay, so this is a reason why you'd be using Dex as your key stat. because you're not always trying to damage with strikes. That could be... That's a thing. I don't know. Alright. Okay, as critical, but only 5 feet. The target is pushed 15 feet away from you, 5 feet on a success. You leap away from the target, and this movement doesn't trigger reactions. Okay. What stunts does stunt when you... Oh, okay. Recalcitrant cat is being managed. So if you can push them into something, if you can convincingly, dramatically push them into something, you could do some stunt damage. This is press. You have to be at map to do this again. Which is interesting. To be fair, that first stunt can be damaging too. So this is like your combo character. This is like your wrestling combo character who wants to do a ping-ponging combo. This is your pinball character. I don't know. Cool. Alright, I'm seeing the vision. I don't know if it works, but I'm seeing the vision. This is your luchador, your something or other, stepping on people's heads. I just sound like I'm describing Crocodile Dundee now. That's not it. Crocodile Dundee, famous luchador. Moving on. Pressing pummel. This is not risky. This is just press. This is the last 2/3 of your turn. You have adrenaline, put all your might behind a follow-up attack, make a melee strike. If this strike hits, you deal an extra 1d10 of the same type as your strike. Does your strike always deal only one type? I suppose it generally there's an identifiable type. If you're at least 10th level, 2d10, 3d10. Pressing pummel, okay. So, this is press. So this is that high risk we were talking about. Naturally, this is at map, so 10th level, it's 2d10. 18th is 3d10. That's kind of strange. That's kind of a strange progression because it's a little bit worse than sneak attack damage. It's 2 actions to make a strike that is a little worse than a strike with sneak attack. You must have adrenaline. That seems not great. Maybe I don't understand it. It's high risk. It's not high reward. Well, it's okay. To be fair, that's your fighter whatchamacallit. Not Double Slice, the other one that everyone thinks is bad because they are numerically very slightly different. It's not terrible. It's just strange. Feels like it should be a base class feature to just the thing where you can hit for extra damage. But alright, moving on. Rebounding fall stun. Target can't be more than one size larger than you. As you attempt to bring them down with you, entangle a foe's lower limbs, you fall prone. Attempt an acrobatics check against fort. This is complicated. This is... Okay, so I've been ignoring a lot of the critical fail results. Clumsy what? There's these various penalties. I shouldn't be ignoring them because they're thematic. Like this is your DLC class where there's tons of text and lots of supposed variety. I think this is the first one with damage. You can't stand until your next turn. Cool. John Madden. The target falls prone and you deal stunt damage to them. You stand. No damage. The target falls... So the success is the target falls prone. So this feels very, very much like a feat tax for tripping with acrobatics. And if you fail, you're on the ground. What am I missing here? And you deal stunt damage to them. Okay, it deals stunt damage on account of being a stunt. You deal stunt damage without having to force movement. This is a way to deal stunt damage without needing a prop. So that's something. That may be the first one we've seen. That's the sale. That's the sales pitch. Stunt damage with no prop. And also trip with acrobatics. I'd have to have a look at the definition of dirty trick. Why don't I have a look at the definition of dirty trick? This is dirty trick is a thievery check. And it makes them clumsy. So this is pretty strictly better than dirty trick, I suppose. I see it. Okay. I didn't understand it, and now I sort of understand it, and it seems okay. Scrambling retreat. Targeted by a melee attack. Reaction. A melee attack could be a spell attack, I guess. You have adrenaline and you aren't encumbered. Requires adrenaline. And you aren't encumbered. Plus 2 AC versus attack. After the attack, you can stride up to half your speed. If you do, the attacker can stride to follow you as a free action. they have moved their full speed. So you get half your speed, and they get their full speed. So it's a slow retreat where slow enemies can follow you. Okay. Like, it's +2 circumstance to AC against the attack. You have adrenaline, you aren't encumbered. So it's like nimble dodge, except you have to have adrenaline, and you can move away. No additional feat tax on that. And then the attacker can follow you as a free action. My sense as a GM, my action sense as a GM tells me that should maybe be a reaction rather than free. I guess this is in that free risk, high reward wheelhouse. Now, to be fair, you can drag them past the fighter or something. Like, you can try to get them in there with you, drag them back and forth past the fighter in front of, drag them toward the champion. Like, this is presenting a choice to the GM, which is interesting. It's presenting the GM with a tactical choice. But it's one of those, do you fall prone? Do you to dodge? Do you, the GM has to do a bunch of brain work all of a sudden that they weren't expecting to. It's normal for GMs, but it's interesting. Wheeling pull stunt. Attempt an athletics check against the reflex DC. Of a creature within your reach. Since I'm thinking about it, what's the comparison here of the actions on these feats and what they're attacking? Breakaway attack is going to be what is breakaway attack? Did it specify? It doesn't say. It doesn't specify whether this is considered an improvised weapon. Make a melee or ranged strike with it. It's acting like this is worth doing. I think this feels like, okay, going back to breakaway attack, this feels like treating it as an improvised weapon is probably too bad to be true. Even though, by description, that's exactly what is happening. It really doesn't say. Interact, and then make a melee or ranged strike with it as appropriate for your description. It's kind of written like a special strike that isn't an ordinary. I'm going to assume this is not. that this is treated sufficiently like an unarmed attack to use the proficiency. This will get cleared up almost certainly. Okay. I was trying to look at what those are attacking with and what defenses they're hitting. So, attacking with what? Unarmed, proficiency, hitting AC. Attack with athletics to hit reflex. Attack with acrobatics to hit fortitude. Any strike to hit AC. Acrobatics to hit fortitude. Athletics to hit reflex. So you basically get athletics to hit reflex, acrobatics to hit fortitude, or strikes to hit AC. Like, I'm not expecting to hit, wisdom here, but or maybe perception. There is okay. Just weirdly consistent there. Athletics to hit reflex or acrobatics to hit fort. And of course, you can already get you're starting your turns, like, the turn loop is so often going to start with daring stunt. Which requires an athletics maneuver. Press risky. Press risky. Flourish. Press. Press risky. Yeah, all of these are press. Breakaway attack is risky. Flourish. Great. Feints are risky. Strange. You have to do your first one with athletics, is what I'm seeing. Like, you literally have to. Your first one has to be athletics so far. Unless I've missed something. Strange. Thank you. Strange, strange. It seems like the first thing you pretty much have to do is either an athletics maneuver or moving, losing the action economy, and doing what are press and flourish? Which one's press and which one's flourish? Flourish. You can only use one action with the flourish trait per round. Okay. So you can do breakaway attack. You can run in, get adrenaline, do a breakaway attack. You can feint, do a breakaway attack. Okay, I'm seeing it. You have to do a bunch... this is really, really a flowchart. You have to do The path of least resistance is that you start out every turn with like a Daredevil stunt into an athletics maneuver. A Daredevil stunt with a maneuver into anything, whatever else, something with map. Stunt with map, strike with map, battle medicine. And to be fair, that Daredevil stunt can do stunt damage, I believe. Feint into a flourish or strike. What was that 2 action? It's a press. A feint into a flourish or strike. Feint with bold bluff. Or bold bluff into flourish or a strike. It's like it's man, it feels feels brain draining already. Although at the build level, you will almost certainly choose between these 2 paths. I feel like that's what's going to happen. At a build level, you're choosing this beforehand, so that you know what your turns look like. Level 2. Oh boy. I've just now reached level 2 class feats. To be fair, no subclasses, but we are going to keep seeing stunts and stunts and stunts, if I'm not mistaken. Caraming Charge. Sounds great. Adrenaline. You move between your foes and batter them as you pass by. Okay, you stride twice, you can move through enemies as part of this movement, and you deal stunt damage to each enemy you move through. What? This is a fireball. This is just a human fireball. This is a human pinball. Stunt damage is strength plus dice, isn't it? Stunt damage is strength plus a d6. One d6 plus strength. This is a level 2 feat. This does... This isn't even... This isn't flourish, it's not press, it's not risky. It doesn't even increase map. At level 5, this starts doing 2d6 instead of 1. You're going to run 50 feet, 50 feet, 60 feet, and do stunt damage. There's not even a save. Something's wrong here. I don't even know. There's no save. You just automatically deal your stunt damage to... I mean, how many combatants can you reach in 50 feet of movement? But gee whiz. This... Stride twice. Through enemies. To all enemies with no save. That's crazy. That's... This is down from this is day one playtest errata stuff. This is day one errata stuff. This has gotta have a reflex save or something. Maybe I'm missing something. I mean, it's 2 actions. It takes the same actions as striding twice. You Daredevil stunt to get adrenaline. You get adrenaline automatically. You might deal stunt damage. And then you automatically deal stunt damage to everyone you can reach in 2 strides. I don't think it's me, I think that's broken. Moving on. Opening Gambit. Free actions. We like free actions. You are about to roll initiative. Ooh, cool stuff. And we got gunslinger stuff. You perform a minor stunt that might allow you to make the first move, attempt an acrobatics or athletics check against the standard DC for the highest level creature in the encounter. Regardless of the result, you gain adrenaline during your first round. Oh! Okay. Your initiative is equal to 19. Your initiative is equal to 1 plus. Alright. I bet that's... Like, I see it. I see the vision. It's really weird. So it's against the highest level creature. You can't point at the enemy rat you've been keeping in your bag. Nor even the goblin. The runty -1 goblin. You gotta go against the goblin pyromancer. You gotta look at him and go versus his standard level DC of 16. Okay. Stunt driver. Yeah? Some prerequisites. Obvious ones. I feel like this is one of those thematic auto picks. Oh, have a look at it. As you control a vehicle, take reckless actions while piloting a vehicle, that action gains the risky trait. This is one of those things that is like an auto pick for people who want things that sound cool, and this will almost never get used. Sad face. Risky driving! Trip up. I guess. You follow up and okay, press. You follow up an attack with a sweeping blow at a target's lower limbs. Make a melee strike. If you hit and deal damage... If you hit and deal damage, the target is clumsy 1. Until the beginning of your next turn. Okay. A strike to inflict clumsy. I don't know if that's worth 2 actions, but it's interesting. Strike with map to inflict clumsy. I mean, if you're wielding your rapier, your dancer's spear. See, this just tempts me to make a no risk the no risk Daredevil with the dancer's spear. Tumbling tricks. No action description. Your attempts to tumble through. Gain the risky trait. And gain critical success and critical failure outcomes. More risky. Okay. Tumble through is riskier and riskier. That's interesting. Caroming charge is going to get a change. Otherwise, like, I feel like you take caroming charge, automatically run through, and deal damage on the way. For 2 actions, obviously. I don't know. Gains the risky trait. What all does stunt damage apply to? Because that's becoming interesting to me. When you have adrenaline and force a target to move, and then at specific times that mentions stunt damage. So not this. It's just forced movement. And when mentioned. Alright. Tumble through. Is risky and more risky. Wall sweep. You have adrenaline and are adjacent to at least 1 prop. Oh, you would be forced by a forced movement effect. You use the you have adrenaline and adjacent. Very situational. Increase the forced movement. Decide where it takes you. That's interesting. That's strange and interesting and very situational. Level 4. Okay, we got feat trees. You bounce an item off one foe to hit another. 2 actions. Just get the 2 action symbol. Does this count as a risky feat? Probably not, because it's enhancing another risky feat. But then, if you're moving... Oh, headache. Anyway. Interact to pick up an object and make a ranged strike. Ricochet's second strike against at the same map against a different enemy within 15 feet. Huh? The item used to make these attacks isn't destroyed or doesn't fall to the ground after you make the first attack. I think they lost their way in that sentence, and that will say something different and better. I think they just lost that one. Yeah, they got lost. So this is still press. It's a 2 action press for 2 attacks without map. It's only the ranged version. So the 2 ranged strikes. Then the second one can be further away. It just has to be close enough to the first one. Okay. It's interesting. I mean, what's the vision here for a turn that uses this? You run in and feint, but that won't affect a ranged strike. You run in and do an athletics maneuver. And then do a bouncing hurl. It's interesting. It's a lot of chances to do a small amount of damage. Well, a medium amount of damage. It's interesting. Daring reversal. You have adrenaline and are flanked by at least 2 enemies. You follow up an attack with a punishing shove to give yourself some space. Make a melee strike against one of the... Oh, flourish and press. That's important. So, you have adrenaline, You're flanked, and you've already done something this turn. Make a melee strike against one of the flanking enemies that is within your reach, and then attempt an athletics check to shove that enemy. What if the enemies have reach? Like, you can't do it if they're too far away for your shove, I suppose. You don't need a hand free to attempt this shove. This check has the same map as the initial attack and doesn't count toward map. Doesn't count toward map. It still leaves you at third map. Whatever. Action compression. Situational action compression. Like, you run into flank and then you do this. Or what? What's the situation where you're flanked and have adrenaline? I don't have the whole flowchart in my head. This is an involved class. Exhilarating athlete. Jump higher, farther. You have adrenaline. You gain the following benefits. You gain climb and swim speeds equal to half your land speed. The DCs of your high jumps and long jumps decrease by 10. It doesn't say the lengths increase. It says the DC decreases. So you succeed on a lower roll, but you're not moving further? Oh boy. Adrenaline gives you some things. Climb and swim. High jump and the long jump. Possible. Like, I think this is going to get a rewording. Because and then vertical leap, horizontal leap. Your distance for a horizontal leap increases to 15 feet or 20 feet. It said, so high jump and long jump having lower DCs. Alright. Better leap. Much better leap. 20-foot leap is good. 20-foot leap is good. To be fair, it doesn't look like any of this is going to stack with other increases. 20-foot leap is good. So that's cool. I don't know who wants that, but it's cool. I get, like, I mean, I guess anyone with athletics, like, leaping is a good counter difficult terrain, counter gaps, counter. This really increases your, like, versatility to get around, but only when you have adrenaline. So every turn, you get adrenaline, and then you can move around well. So, like, something's wrong. I feel like, okay, so you gotta be the enemy's far away from you, so you do what to get adrenaline? I guess you need that feat. You're probably going to take the initiative feat if you're planning to do stuff like this. Because otherwise, the first thing you have to do is go run up to an enemy to get adrenaline, and then you can somehow run or jump to the other enemies. Situational. It's a little bit strange. Opening Gambit. You'll want Opening Gambit, because otherwise, the first turn is when you want to do this, and you won't be able to. Unless you're doing, like, strange things in, like, an initiative against interesting, like, obstacles. Like, this could actually be something that made the Daredevil good against traps and things, weird dungeons with moving parts, that sort of thing. Which isn't very much in official APs, but I certainly see it in homebrew content. You know what you did. High flying tumble stun. Sounds good. Jump through an enemy's space, possibly rendering it off balance. You leap horizontally. During this moment, you can try to move through the space of one enemy. Attempt an athletics check. Athletics versus reflex. As soon as you try to enter its space. As critic, accept the enemy isn't off guard. Move through the enemy's space if you don't have enough speed. If the enemy's off guard until the end of your turn. This is press. And risky. This doesn't deal stunt damage. It's this very situational, like, escape or move tactic that lets you... It kind of lets you tumble through with athletics. That's what I'm seeing. It's letting you tumble through using athletics instead of acrobatics. It's a feat tax for tumbling through with athletics. Wall slam. I'm not going to make it to level 20, which is fair. No one's going to make it to level 20 in the playtest. Probably get to level 10 and then call it. There are at least 2 props on opposite sides of you. In reach of you on opposite side? You scramble up between 2 props to gain a height advantage on an enemy. Leap vertically. You must end your leap in no more than 10 feet within melee reach of at least one enemy. You can attempt an athletics check to trip that enemy. There are at least 2 props on opposite sides of you. Huh? This doesn't... I don't think this is doing stunt damage. Leap vertically. And then trip with a +2 bonus. I don't get it. And the requirement there are at least 2 props on opposite sides of you. I don't get it. It's a very situational +2 circumstance to trip, and I'm not even sure what the situation has to do with it. That one seems kind of strange. Alright. Level 6. Double breakaway. Level 6 is the cap for that flexible stunt that you get at level 9. Prerequisites, breakaway attack. What was breakaway attack? Breakaway attack. Okay. Did I miss something about... See, it's called breakaway attack, but you don't break away to make a surprising attack. It's describing environment stuff like doors, stuff, breakaway attack. Did they just, like, forget to change a name in the formatting? I don't know. They probably didn't want to call it improvised attack, because it's, like, literally not that. But why is it called breakaway attack? Double breakaway. Requires break from breakaway attack. Same as the other one. I think breakaway is your feat tree here. You break 2 items simultaneously against the same... Okay. It's a big strike. It's a big 2-action strike. Press and flourish and a big 2-action strike. And stupefied. Okay. Head smash. Okay. Head smash. You have adrenaline. Okay, 1 action. You have adrenaline. Please just put the 2 action icon on here. Double breakaway. It's 2 actions. Head smash. Adrenaline. Grabbed or restrained. You have someone who's grabbed or restrained. And you and the required creature are both adjacent to the same prop. Oh, jeez. Jeez. Okay. This better be worth something. Fueled by adrenaline, you drive an enemy's head into a sturdy object. Attempt an athletics check against... Okay. I hadn't been thinking of this, but this is a big... This whole class, this entire class, is filled with standard ideas for cool things you might want to do, and like what you might charge a player to do them if they weren't this class, because it should be harder for them, but -2 or more actions or something. Most of these are press. Like, this to me is creating like a nice, and maybe the archetype for this class will create a better line for this, a nice baseline for like how much damage will I do if I do this random thing. Maybe strength mod, I don't know, taking away the 1d6 that taking away the 1d6 2d6 etc. the Daredevil gets seems reasonable. Athletics versus Fortitude. Damage and stunned. The crit fail is big, as always. As it has been, there's crit fail results, flavor and so forth, to drain the hero point economy. Rushing Stride, 1. Risky. I've been forgetting tags. Emacs will not forgive me. Press and attack. Head Smash is an attack. Wow, surprise. It'll be interesting figuring out what out of all of this is and isn't attack rolls, because it's going to be interesting with multiple attack penalty. There's just awful turn Tetris on this class. It's going to be so rough. Except that you only have a limited number of feats. Some of them will not be complicated. Still, just between Daredevil stunt and having 4 other feats by level 4, it's gonna be strange. Rushing Stride. You run headlong into danger to stoke the fire of your adrenaline. You stride. At the end of this movement, if you are within melee, you can make a melee strike against that enemy. If you do, you are off guard against all other enemies except the one you attacked until the beginning of your next turn. Cool. This is risky. Requirements: you don't have adrenaline. Okay, at level 6, this feels like a level 1 feature. I don't know. This feels like early stuff, because now you can actually, well, this simplifies your whole class flowchart. This does not say it gives you a... Oh, it's risky. It's risky, so it gives you adrenaline. Okay. This is just run in and strike to gain adrenaline with risk. With risk of you being off guard. And against bosses, there's none of that. So that's interesting. It only mentions stride, doesn't mention other movement types. This feels like you get to level 6 and now, a lot of characters are gonna take this at level 6 as their, standard opening. You just run in and strike and get adrenaline. And it's one action. It's one action for a stride and a strike that gives you adrenaline. It's a flourish. Okay. So, you only get 1 flourish per turn. So you do this, and you do something that is less flourishing. Okay. I mean, let's talk about the... What is this? Rushing stride. And then any non-flourish. This is going to be a level 6 business. This is... Okay. It's very... I mean, stride and strike for one action is great action economy. Being off guard to other enemies is interesting, but not killer. You might be able to use, like, a reaction to get to... jeez. We're taking away our AC so we can put back our AC. We're doing this so that we can just hit things, but then you can't use flourish anymore, so you gotta do something boring with the rest of your turn. Wow. Wow, the flowchart of this class. I don't love when a class, like, really changes up how you play it late in the game. This is kind of why I object to the whole idea of casters making strikes why I object to it being the way it is. When I play Gishes, I want to keep playing a Gish from 1 to 20. I don't want to play a Gish until level 13 and then give up because my proficiency sucks too much. This is not that bad, but it's like, okay, I've reached level 6, now I can play this class a different way. That's what this feels like, to me. To be fair, it's not closing off old options, it's opening up new ones. So it's more like the case of the druid who reaches level 3 and now they can turn into a bear. But why not open that up at level 1 anyway? Weapon twisting stunt. You have at least one hand free. The target can't be more than one size larger than you. Can't be bothered to type all that out. You grab at an enemy's weapon and attempt to spin it with a turn of your body. Grab enemy's weapon. Acro against reflex. +1 circumstance from if you have a disarm weapon. Acro versus reflex. You knock the... okay. Success. You get your target takes -2 circumstance to attacks with the item until the end of its next turn. It's a lot of things. It's very much like a disarm. What is this? Is this a better disarm? Is this a better disarm with acrobatics? This is a risky disarm with acrobatics. This is following the trend of needing to take feats to replace acrobatics feats with athletics ones, and notably this is attack. You don't get away with doing this without taking map. I'm not on camera, by the way. I'm just being tracked.
Okay.
Well, I'm on camera. I'm not... I'm recording video. I'm on camera. I'm not recording on camera. I'm not recording the camera.
I know what you meant.
Okay. Hey! Someone showed up! Hello, Dodo Handler. Yeah, I don't watch chat well enough, so I have no idea. But yeah. You could knee people. Yeah, I'm in the process of being mystified by a lot of parts of this. I'm in that process. One of my windows. I hope this is fine. What? What's my windowing system just done to me? Alright, it's fine. Weapon twist stunt. That was weapon twist stunt. Like this, it's a risky disarm with acrobatics. Yeah. Level 8! Hello to my, like, literal first viewer. Who's probably already left because I wasn't watching chat. Oh, sorry, second viewer. First commenter. No, second commenter. A foolish hero is over here glaring at me, death glaring at me. Yes, yes, yes. Accompanying strike. One action. Press. You used your previous action to make a melee strike. Melee that missed. There's not... This class doesn't do a lot of wanting to make random melee strikes. And that's your previous action, not in your previous action. That's, Oh, thank you. Hero has presented to me a screen with chat on it so that I don't miss the next person who shows up to talk to me. Accompanying strike. Though your first attack missed, you bring your weapon around for another blow. Weird layout. Upside down. She upside down. It's... What? Who's putting trapezes in these battle maps? This is not Pathfinder. No one got trapezes in their Pathfinder Society battle maps. If your GM is nice enough to put a trapeze in your battle map, congratulations. I mean, I'm running Extinction Curse, so fair enough, but accompanying round for another blow. Make a strike with the same weapon, adding the backswing trait, increasing the size of the damage die by 1 step. And backswing, so you get like -1. It's a slightly less bad second strike. This is press. Not risk. So this is What's the vision here? This is a third action. This is a third action strike that's slightly less bad than a third action strike. I don't know if I care for it. I guess this could be a second action strike. So now the Daredevil used to be interesting, but now, for some reason, they may just want to strike. I guess if that was the... I guess if you were just doing that. Make a strike with the same weapon, adding the backswing trait and increasing the size of the damage die by 1 step. Yeah. I'm sort of seeing the vision of them maybe not just being a worse fighter during doing the same things. Like, I'm seeing it, but this is a whole feat just so you aren't a worse, like a strictly worse fighter. I don't know. Escape shuffle. 2 actions. You're grabbed or restrained. You attempt to escape by a creature. If you succeed, you can also attempt to reposition. Don't increase your map until after you attempt both checks. You can step. Okay. Escape and then reposition. Escape takes... Now, since escape creates map... this is risky, so this does stunt damage. Okay, I see the vision. That's interesting. There's a fair amount of grab and restrained in most Pathfinder. This is genuinely good. This is, since your second escape attempt usually has map, that makes it a little bit hopeless. Not completely, just you gotta roll good. This one, it steals your second escape attempt from you. Because these still both have map. But yeah, this definitely has risk versus reward. I'm seeing it. This is especially nice if someone's giving you a bonus with a guidance or a bellflower tattoo or something. Action compression and reversing a grab into damage is really cool. I almost feel like this should be like lower level kind of it's really good, but lots of classes have things that are really good starting at level 1 or 2 or 3, so I feel like this is, this is like level 4 or 6 stuff. This is what your class does. You should be getting to do cool things sooner. I don't know. I'm being grouchy, but that's cool. It's a very cool idea. I don't know if it's the feat you would choose. Ooh. With adrenaline, you have that advantage on concealed and hidden. undetected. Low level or your level or lower. Okay. A lot of requirements make a creature only hidden. The advantage on concealed and hidden is the big deal there because undetected mooks aren't usually going to be a big deal, but it's a nice rider. It's a nice bonus. Scrambling roll. Scrambling retreat. Which one was scrambling retreat? It was the one where they get to follow you. And expert in acrobatics. With a dive and a tumble, you can avoid dangerous effects. You can use scrambling retreat before attempting a reflex save. In addition to its original trigger, if you do, the circumstance bonus applies to your reflex save against the triggering effect. If you stride, the source of the effect is a creature. Okay. And scrambling retreat versus a reflex save. That's not incredible, but it's cool. Level 10. Level 10, and then I'm going to call it for the evening. Make sure I've saved. And figure out why org mode is broken. Deadly advantage. You take the upper hand against foes in a weakened state. When you have adrenaline, you gain a circumstance bonus to damage rolls for strikes against clumsy or enfeebled creatures. Bonus is equal to double the target's clumsy or enfeebled condition value, whichever is higher. If you're a master in athletics, increase the bonus to triple. That's later. Okay. That's damage rolls for strikes. Damage rolls for strikes. Okay, so this isn't stunt damage. This is strikes. Okay. Obviously, some Daredevils want to do. I think it's obvious some Daredevils will be doing more strikes than others. Most will be doing a mix. I don't have a great idea of how that will split up. Hit or miss. Yeah. Flourish. Press. Risky. You will follow the flowchart. Sometimes you have to take big risks to take down your enemy. Make a melee strike. It gains the following crit success, failure, critical failure, replacing any other effects. Triple damage on crit. This is a press. This is a second map. I don't... Giving... It's so cruel putting... Okay. It's a high-risk, high-reward strike. Failure. Half damage, excluding all... half of any damage it would have dealt on a hit, excluding all damage dice. Crit failure, make a strike against you as a reaction. Give enemy a reaction. Give enemies actions! But higher crit damage, damage on fail. Sure. I don't. This doesn't feel like a level 10 feat, but it's interesting. Vigorous adrenaline. This is the last one. You have adrenaline. You gain temporary hit points equal to level plus con until the start of your next turn. Reduce value by one of the clumsy and feeble to sickened. You then lose adrenaline. That's interesting. It's like the barbarian one. Okay, that's up through level 10. I'm curious about level 12 through 20, but I think this covers everything we're going to see in the playtest, and all of this is likely to change anyway. Flowchart. My goodness. This is the flowchart class. That's the wrap up. This is the combo pro wrestler weirdo class. This is your I don't know, so far combo classes have been mostly the fighter and the swashbuckler, but the swashbuckler has a really specific thing. The swashbuckler really specifically does one of 3 things to get panache and eventually expends it. The Daredevil doesn't have the option to keep panache or to start out their turn flanking like a rogue, and at the same time, their first action is not fixed. There are a few different options. I see... Like everyone else, I initially thought, oh, class archetype. But it's not. It's the combo class. It's the try to hit your combo class. I'm a little bit concerned that every step of your combo is risky. So much of this is situational, and very little of it applies outside of combat. So outside of combat, you're a strong or acrobatic chaos goblin or a brooding loner. It needs something. It needs something that's not chaos goblin or brooding loner for out of combat. And that's a really big gap. It's a really big gap to have 10 levels of feats that are combat only. I think that's what I just saw. Heightened awareness. Okay, accompanying strike. I'm looking back through them, looking through my notes for... That takes adrenaline. Exhilarating athlete takes adrenaline. Stunt driver. It makes driving risky, which is an adrenaline thing. Opening Gambit is the beginning of combat, but that's in combat. Wheeling, pole stunt, scrambling, retreat, scrambling, this... the vision here is that this character is only in combat. Like, I players don't have to take their personality from their class, but I know enough players who do that this feels like it is creating problems. It's creating this problem where your class tells you that you have no personality. You don't even have the option to have a personality or ideas about what you're doing outside of combat. As far as the entire class is concerned, your party might as well be carrying you around in a box. The party is going to Pokeball you when combat starts. I don't... The vision is, of course, that it's a very combat-heavy class, but nothing it... This is why this class... I'm sure other classes have the same issue, where most or all of their feats are combat-oriented. This badly needs to be a skill monkey class with the extra skill feats. That's my opinion. This class should have the extra skill feats, and possibly even the extra skill increases. That's, from what I'm seeing so far, the fix to half this class, where you want to have athletics and acrobatics and intimidation and anything else you're going to need that's for utility, and you have your whole class chassis has nothing for out of combat, literally nothing. Skill feats. It feels like that kind of class, and there's a hole that fills, and I'm worried about it. It's an interesting class, and I know the person who wants to play this class, and I know 12 other people who want to play this class, and this is cool. I really hope they have some kind of vision for out of combat eventually. I really hope they decide on, like, the skill monkey progression or something. That is my conclusion. It's cool. It's a flowchart. It's a big flowchart. It's a big flowchart. It has, this whole class is a big in combat flowchart and nothing else. It has a lot of verve. I have a hard time saying it has a lot of panache or a lot of... But it's not what we thought it was. It's not a swashbuckler. It's the weird wrestler combo class. I like the ideas. It needs to be fleshed out. And there are some typos and some problems that will get fixed. I'm going to be horrified, when people use that two-action... Here, I'll just search backwards for all the question marks. Oh. I'll search forwards for all the question marks. Caraming charge. I'm gonna be GMing Pathfinder Society, and I'll have to just say, yes, you do that. You move 50 feet, and you automatically deal damage to everyone you can reach in that movement. Start rolling your d6s. This is a weird one. I see it, and I like it, and it's a weird one, and the playtest is going to be a mess, and I really hope Paizo delivers on this one, because this is cool and I know people who want this. Okay, I think that's it for today. Next time I'm gonna look at the Slayer, and then I am going to probably make some demo characters. Not necessarily in that order. Maybe I'll live make some... Demiplane is up, maybe I'll live build some Daredevil characters. See if I can't get them into Foundry, maybe. That's it for today. It's 2026, February 17th. And they had better Nerf Caraming charge or something. Good night, folks.